Imagine waking up every single morning to the sound of church bells echoing through cobblestone streets, sipping your coffee on a sun-drenched terrace, surrounded by centuries of history. With fresh food on every corner, world-class healthcare within reach, and a monthly cost of living that is somehow lower than what you were paying back home. That is not a fantasy. That is retirement in Europe. In 2026, it has never been more accessible, more appealing, or more financially smart than it is right now. Here is something that might genuinely shock you. A retired couple living comfortably in parts of Portugal, Greece, or Romania can do so on as little as $2,000 a month, sometimes less. That includes rent, food, healthcare, entertainment, and the kind of lifestyle that most people only experience on a 2-week vacation. Meanwhile, the average American retiree is struggling to stretch Social Security across skyrocketing rent, medical bills, and a cost of living that keeps climbing with no ceiling in sight. So what if the smartest financial decision you could make for your retirement had nothing to do with your portfolio and everything to do with your zip code? This video is not going to give you the same recycled list of Lisbon and Barcelona that every other channel puts out. What we have built here is a deeply researched, honest, and genuinely useful breakdown of the best places to retire in Europe in 2026. Places that offer the right balance of affordability, safety, climate, culture, healthcare, and quality of life. We are going to cover budget-friendly hidden gems that do not feel like a compromise, sun-soaked Mediterranean destinations with an irresistible pull, and culturally rich cities that offer world-class living for a fraction of what you might expect. By the end of this video, you will have a clear sense of where your retirement could take you, and more importantly, which destination fits your specific vision of what the good life actually looks like. Welcome to Destination Check, your passport to smarter travel decisions. If you are new here, hit that like button and subscribe right now because every single week we put out content designed to help you travel smarter, live better, and make decisions that actually change your life. Now let's get into it. Let's start with the category that surprises people the most. The places in Europe where your money goes the furthest, your lifestyle actually improves, and the word budget never once feels like a dirty word. Portugal has been on the radar of expats and retirees for years, but here's what most people get wrong about it. They zoom straight to Lisbon or Porto, fall in love, price out an apartment, and then realize that those cities have changed significantly in the last 5 years. Tourism and remote worker demand have pushed costs up in the capitals. But here's the thing. Portugal is a small country with an enormous amount of beauty and livability spread across its entire territory. And the retirees who are winning right now are the ones who looked beyond the obvious. The Alentejo region, for example, is one of the most stunning and underappreciated parts of Western Europe. Rolling golden plains, medieval hilltop villages, incredible local wine, and a pace of life so relaxed it almost feels like time has slowed down deliberately. Cities like Evora, a UNESCO World Heritage City, offer genuine historical richness, a tight-knit community, and a cost of living that remains well below the national average. A one-bedroom apartment in Evora can still be found for under €500 a month. Groceries, dining out, and daily life are all proportionately affordable. Then there is Braga, in the north, which is regularly cited as one of the most livable cities in Portugal, and increasingly one of the most popular among retirees who want city infrastructure without capital city prices. It has a thriving cultural scene, excellent medical facilities, and a warmth among locals that long-term expats consistently mention. Portugal also offers one of the most attractive tax frameworks for foreign retirees in all of Europe. If you have a pension, Social Security income, or investment returns, Portugal is specifically designed to welcome you. Now, if Portugal still feels a little too well known, let's talk about two countries that consistently rank at the very top of cost per quality of life calculations. Bulgaria's Plovdiv is a city that deserves its own documentary. It is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, with a beautifully preserved old town. A couple can live very comfortably in Plovdiv for around $1,200 to $1,500 a month. Bulgaria is also an EU member state, which brings with it a level of legal stability and infrastructure. Romania's Cluj-Napoca tells a similar story. It is young, vibrant, cosmopolitan, and incredibly affordable. Romania as a whole is one of the fastest improving countries in Europe in terms of infrastructure and quality of life. And then there are the bold frontier picks, Albania and North Macedonia. Albania's capital, Tirana, has transformed dramatically over the last decade. It is colorful, energetic, surprisingly modern, and one of the cheapest places to live in all of Europe. These are not destinations for everyone, but for the adventurous retiree with flexibility and curiosity, they offer an extraordinary life for very little money. The retirees moving there in 2026 are still early, but affordability is only half the equation. Because what if what you actually want is sunshine for most of the year? Those destinations are coming up right now. There is something almost medicinal about the Mediterranean. The countries that line the Mediterranean Sea keep showing up at the top of longevity studies, happiness indexes, and retiree satisfaction surveys. Spain remains one of the most popular retirement destinations in Europe, and in 2026, it still earns that reputation. The Costa del Sol and Costa Blanca have been expat staples for decades. They still offer a tremendous quality of life. The infrastructure is excellent, and the English-speaking communities are enormous. The food is extraordinary, and the climate is genuinely hard to beat. However, costs in the most popular coastal areas have risen. Retirees moving there today need to budget more carefully than those who arrived a decade ago. Here is what the smart money is doing right now, looking inland. The Valencia region's interior, the areas around Murcia and smaller Andalusian towns just a short drive from the coast, are offering that same Spanish lifestyle at prices that feel like a throwback to what the coast used to cost. You still get the food, the culture, and the healthcare system. The healthcare system is consistently ranked among the best in the world. You just trade the sea view for a mountain view. Honestly, for many retirees, that turns out to be a trade they are thrilled they made. Greece has had a remarkable resurgence as a retirement destination. 2026 is shaping up to be one of its strongest years yet. The country's retirement visa has been refined and clarified. It makes the pathway for non-EU retirees cleaner and more accessible. The lifestyle pitch is almost impossible to argue with. Greek culture places extraordinary value on food, family, community, and leisure. These align almost perfectly with what most retirees are actually looking for. Crete is the destination that keeps coming up in expat forums and retirement communities. It is large enough to have genuine infrastructure, hospitals, international airports, supermarkets, everything you need. But it retains the character, beauty, and warmth of an island that has not been completely overtaken by mass tourism. The western part of Crete in particular, around Chania, offers a quality of life that longtime residents describe as something close to perfect. The food alone, the olive oil, the fresh produce, the seafood, is a lifestyle upgrade in itself. The Peloponnese Peninsula on the Greek mainland deserves serious attention. It is deeply historical, stunningly beautiful, and far less saturated with tourists than the islands. Towns like Nafplio and Kalamata offer genuine Greek character and excellent local food. Yes, Kalamata is exactly where those olives come from. The cost of living remains genuinely affordable even as other parts of Greece have become more expensive. Now let's talk about two island nations that a lot of people overlook because they are small. Small, in this case, turns out to be a serious advantage. Malta and Cyprus both share something that is genuinely rare among European retirement destinations. English is widely spoken, and in many cases it is effectively a first language. For retirees who worry about navigating a new life in a language they do not speak, this changes everything. The psychological ease of being able to communicate naturally cannot be overstated. Malta is a tiny archipelago in the heart of the Mediterranean with an outsized amount of history, culture, and charm. It has excellent private healthcare, a well-developed expat community, and a tax framework designed to attract foreign retirees. The main drawback is that it is small. If you need wide-open spaces and long drives through countryside, Malta may feel limiting. But if you love history, the sea, walkable towns, and a social life built around cafe culture, Malta delivers. Cyprus sits further east in the Mediterranean, with a climate that is arguably the best of any European country. more than 300 days of sunshine a year, warm winters, and long, glorious summers. The island is divided, but for retirees, the decision is surprisingly simple. Most settle in the southern half, the Republic of Cyprus. This is where life feels open, sun-washed, and unhurried. Compared to Malta, Cyprus offers more space and a lower overall cost of living. One day you're by the sea, the next you're in the mountains, without ever feeling crowded. What makes Cyprus especially distinctive is its cultural blend. British legal structure and language familiarity meet Greek hospitality. The result is a lifestyle that feels both comfortably familiar and refreshingly different. Paphos has become the readery anchor point. It combines a large English-speaking community with a picturesque coastline. Reliable healthcare access and infrastructure make daily life straightforward. You can live well here without complication. That simplicity is part of the appeal. Neither island is perfect. Cyprus summers can be intensely hot. Malta in high season can feel congested and overbuilt in certain areas. But for retirees prioritizing sun, clear communication, and an easy Mediterranean rhythm, these two islands remain standout contenders. Now we shift to something that surprises almost everyone. When people imagine retiring in a European city, they assume it's financially out of reach. They picture Parisian prices or London rents. What they rarely consider is that some of Europe's most culturally rich cities are more accessible than ever. There is a version of retirement that isn't about slowing down. It's about upgrading your environment. It's about stepping out your front door and walking to the bakery, the opera house, the weekly market, and the doctor's office. It's about living somewhere with public transportation that works, architecture that inspires, and conversations that stretch you intellectually. For that version of retirement, Europe's cities are nearly unmatched. Few countries have re-entered the retirement spotlight as powerfully as Italy. The reason is a targeted tax policy designed specifically to attract foreign retirees. Under Italy's special flat tax regime for qualifying newcomers in certain southern municipalities, foreign-sourced income can be taxed at a remarkably favorable rate. For retirees drawing pensions or investment income, the savings can be substantial. This policy wasn't accidental. It was crafted to revitalize southern towns experiencing population decline. And it's working. Regions such as Puglia, Sicily, Calabria, and Basilicata are welcoming retirees who are discovering something unexpected: extraordinary beauty at prices that feel decades behind the rest of Europe. Consider Lecce, often called the Florence of the South. It is a masterpiece of Baroque architecture carved in golden stone. The city feels intimate but culturally rich. In a region that produces more olive oil than any other in Italy, food is central to daily life. Simple, seasonal, unforgettable. And the cost of living remains dramatically lower than in Rome or Milan, without sacrificing quality. Then there's Palermo. Layered, complex, endlessly fascinating. Arab-Norman cathedrals rise above bustling markets. Street food culture rivals anywhere in the world. History is not packaged for tourists, it unfolds slowly over time. For retirees who crave authenticity rather than polish, Sicily can feel transformative. The much-discussed €1 home initiatives in southern Italy continue into 2026, though the reality has matured. True €1 properties are rarer, and renovation commitments are significant. But the broader opportunity remains: historic homes in character-rich towns at prices unimaginable in Northern Europe. This isn't retirement as retreat. It's retirement as reinvention. Not shrinking your world, expanding it. But the underlying opportunity still exists for buyers who do their research and approach it with realistic expectations. Now let's move to Central Europe, where 3 cities make a case for world-class urban retirement that is hard to dismiss. Vienna consistently ranks at or near the very top of every global quality of life index, year after year. The healthcare system is extraordinary. The public transportation is so good and so comprehensive that many residents never own a car. The cultural offering is simply without peer. And while Vienna is not cheap by the standards of Eastern Europe, it is significantly more affordable than London, Paris, or Zurich. For a retiree with a solid pension or investment income, Vienna is not an unrealistic choice. It is a genuinely compelling one. Prague is one of the most beautiful cities on Earth, full stop, and it remains one of the more affordable capitals in Central Europe. The historic center is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Living within it or near it means waking up inside what genuinely looks like a fairy tale. The Czech healthcare system has improved dramatically over the last 2 decades. The restaurant and cafe scene is excellent. The city has a rich cultural and intellectual life that keeps long-term residents engaged and stimulated. The Czech Republic is an EU member, which simplifies residency pathways for EU citizens. Non-EU retirees have several visa options worth exploring. Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, is perhaps the most pleasant surprise in this entire video. It is small, which means it has the walkability, the community feel, and the human scale that larger capitals sometimes lose. But it punches enormously above its weight in terms of quality of life. Slovenia has one of the highest standards of living in Central Europe, and Ljubljana reflects that. It is clean, safe, beautifully designed, surrounded by extraordinary nature. The Julian Alps are right there. Lake Bled is 40 minutes away. It has a food scene that has quietly become one of the most interesting in the region. Finally, let us end with 3 destinations that represent the frontier of retirement thinking in 2026. Georgia has emerged as one of the most talked about destinations among financially savvy retirees and long-term expats. Tbilisi, the capital, is a city of astonishing character. The food scene is extraordinary. Georgian cuisine is one of the great underappreciated culinary traditions in the world. The cost of living is among the lowest of any European adjacent country. English is widely spoken in the cities. The wine culture is a lifestyle unto itself. Georgia is not an EU member, which means the residency framework is different, but the country has historically been very welcoming to foreign retirees. In 2026, it remains one of the most compelling value propositions anywhere in this part of the world. Montenegro is a tiny Adriatic nation with one of the most dramatic coastlines in Europe. The Bay of Kotor is genuinely breathtaking in a way that photographs struggle to capture. Towns like Kodor, Herceg Novi, and Tivat offer a Mediterranean lifestyle at prices significantly below Croatia. Montenegro is actively pursuing EU membership. This means that retirees who establish themselves there now are potentially positioning themselves ahead of a significant shift in the country's international profile. Let's touch on Slovenia. The Alpine meets Mediterranean character of Slovenia is genuinely unique. You can ski in the mountains in the morning and be at an Adriatic beach by afternoon. Slovenia is stable, safe, and well-governed. It offers a quality of life that rivals countries twice its economic size. It has not yet attracted the volume of expat and retiree attention that its quality fully deserves. That gap will not last forever. Now, let's bring this all together. You've just been through a comprehensive look at what Europe has to offer retirees in 2026. If your priority is affordability without sacrificing quality, consider Portugal's interior cities, Bulgaria, Romania, and the Balkan frontier offers a compelling value. If you crave sun, sea, and a Mediterranean lifestyle, Spain's inland regions, Greece's islands, and the English-speaking havens of Malta and Cyprus deliver that in abundance. If you want a retirement defined by cultural richness, Italy's south, Central Europe's great capitals, and the rising stars of Georgia, Montenegro, and Slovenia are ready to exceed your expectations. The question now is simple. Which one of these destinations speaks to your vision of what retirement should feel like? Drop your top pick in the comments right now. If one of these surprised you, tell us that too. This conversation is exactly what this community is built for. We are working on a follow-up video that goes deep on the practical side of this. Visas, healthcare access, financial planning, and the real costs nobody talks about will be covered. You are not going to want to miss that one. Until then, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and we will see you at the next destination.